Welcome back to Adaverse. It's been a long time. My name is Gigi, and I'm joined here today with my colleague Max.
Hello, everyone.
So today we have an interview with Damon, CMO of co-founder of Charli3, a revolutionary new Oracle pool built on the Cardano blockchain.
And once again, thank you to the Cardano and Ergo communities. Without you guys, this would not be possible. We hope you enjoy the show.
Thank you. So to start off, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the team behind Charli3?
Sure. So my name's Damon. I am the CMO and co-founder, one of the three co-founders of Charli3. As far as our team goes, our CTO is Jonas Lindgren, who has a long experience chain of a blockchain experience, I'll say. He's been in and developing since, I think, 2015, 2016 on blockchain. And prior to that, he was a university teacher and of computer science. Robert Heaver is our COO and other co-founder, and he mainly worked in traditional tech prior to this, more in operational side of things with dealing with projects and scaling companies I think he worked with the CTO of YouTube and Justin Horowitz and campaign managers for the Obama administration as well. So there's a good line of experience there. And I'm the least experienced within the tech world, even though I am the face of our company. My background is mainly based in medical sciences. And then I switched over to blockchain and marketing. So it's a different pathway for me.
Yeah, well, for most of us, it's kind of also like that because it's something so new, especially with blockchain.
Yeah,
I can relate.
We can talk about that more later.
So Damon, how would you describe Charli3 to someone who's not familiar with oracles, and what makes you guys different?
Yeah, that's a great question. Most people aren't familiar with oracles. I'll say that much. So to explain it to in lay terms is that we're taking off-chain data. Now, what that means is that the blockchain is the tech that crypto is using, right? And different projects are built on different chain code bases. But these smart contracts that we use for communication on the code side of things cannot connect to real-world data. Most of these projects that are built on blockchain need this real-world data for function, and they need an oracle to process that data. So we're able to grab it and basically translate it to the right language and the right code for these projects on chain to be able to use for their function, and for the front end user to have that experience with those other projects.
That's very interesting. So talking about the blockchains, why did you choose to build on Cardano specifically?
It's a big question, especially with all the controversy around Cardano, right? But we liked it for the more innovative approach that they have. Most of what people aren't realizing this is most of crypto is built on a different code base language called Solidity, or ports of that that are very close together. And how I like to explain it is that these are all like different accents of the same language, but Haskell, which is what Cardano is built on, is like me going to try and learn Chinese or something. Like, it's nowhere close, right? No, it can't be ported easily to, and which is why it takes so long. But the other reason for that is its scalability and elegance in coding and security, because of this complexity of the code, is actually far higher. And we like that a lot. On top of that, it's just the ethos, connect the unconnected, bank the unbankable, all of these things that Cardano comes up to try and process crypto into real fi instead of just DeFi is a huge ethos that we like to follow, and the humanitarian efforts as well. We started our own efforts around there with a clean water initiative that we've put together with some stake pool operators to bring funding towards clean water solutions and wells for communities in need in Africa. So we're talking to IOHK on that as well.
That's so cool. I think that's a very big part of Cardano, like
Yeah,
sustainability and just like the ethos and doing things for other people. So it's great to
absolutely.
hear that.
Thanks. We like the work.
Can we maybe touch on the Charli3 node system, like how that works?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Oracle systems are a little bit more unique in the crypto space, I'll say, especially ours, because we don't actually pay them out directly, or how that works. So how it all transpires is that our node operators are what connects to this real life data that we spoke on earlier. So they're able to connect to APIs. So this is basically the data stores from these external sources. And then when our project partners, our customers, put in a request for a specific type of data update, so say the price of Bitcoin or Cardano or the weather that day, whatever they need, that gets processed through our system. It notifies the node operators. They get to choose if they want to take that call to process that data and give it back to the people. And then our system will have an aggregated number, a consensus truth data on that specific type of data that they're asking for. So the node operators, hopefully many of them will pick up this same call for the exact point of data. Our system will aggregate it and manage it to make sure it is correct, throw out any outliers or bad actors, and then process that data back to our customers, users, so it is truthful and trusted. And then how that works as far as payment goes is that the projects are actually purchasing our token, and then they pay out the node operators directly with our token. And so that's kind of how the staking operation goes within the node operation. It's not traditional. It's more so they're getting paid for giving correct data to our partners and making our systems trusted. On top of that, we have, I think, maybe this might be another question you have coming up, but it would be, we have a trusted system. How do you know that these node operators are trusted, right? How do you know that this is correct? And the more correct data that they pull through, we will have a ranking system for that to say, that basically tallies up on these people to be higher level node operators and trusted, which we will then have as recommendations for our network to people, new people coming in asking for different levels of data and trusted sources.
So will it almost be like the more trusted operators are demand a higher price from the users? Is that?
Yeah. Eventually, I think it'll get to that point where there might be tiers of different trusted data after we get that system in place. But from the beginning, everything will be more or less the same. But also because of that trusted level, we need to make sure that our initial node operators are people we can understand, or sorry, people we know that understand tech and can actually run these nodes properly, so we can get off the ground initially and have more flawless function to start. Later on, we will be hopefully opening it up to more wider range of node operators from the general community once we figured out a simple onboarding system, so you don't have to worry about being tech savvy to run a node.
That's
Yeah.
great. And how would you hope to integrate Charli3 into more traditional financial systems?
Yeah, that's fair. That's a big question, right? Pulling us into a real fi type stuff. That's what everyone wants to know. So Oracle's, because we do connect to that real world system, but we're still connected to the blockchain, right? Primarily. One thing that we've been dealing with is actually a sporting company. I can't say who, but they're looking at using our Oracle data and using on-chain technology, Cardano blockchain technology, to hash out their players' statistics by gaining different sources from different data from different sources. So that's kind of coming into real life traditional finances there in a way where then those companies are able to pay out their players based on different statistical analysis from our Oracle systems. The same way happens with other projects that are maybe connecting to the real world in the more direct sense, because we are kind of the backside solution to providing this data, is something like Indigo or Paribus that are doing synthetic assets. So they're pulling and trading the data from the stock market and foreign exchange, stuff like that. So we're bringing that data on chain for them, but then they are trading that that value within their user base and their systems from traditional finance means. But we connect to it, but we're not really helping that system. We're helping bring that system to the blockchain.
I read about like the off-chain computation aspect of Charli3. Can you go into that a little bit and explain what that is?
I would love to, but I am not a technical person, right? We'd have to get our CTO on that really a little bit more. But the off-chain computation is more so, it's not really off-chain. It'll just be kind of using layer 2 solutions. So it's still kind of on-chain as far as I know of our scalability operations. But the off-chain computations will mostly be just through our Oracle system, but it's decentralized is the whole thing through the node operators. So this consensus truth is being brought to light by the decentralized network of operations. So it's not really on chain, it's separate, but then it's hashed on chain when we get the actual truth value to set out to people. And that'll be, after it goes through our systems, it's laid out in a series of extended UTXO, I'll just say tokens for people to grab and use that specific source truth data point to use for their function.
That's great. Could you also give us some examples of use cases for Charli3?
Well, yeah, I mean, some of the stuff we just talked about before. So like I said, for the specific projects like Indigo or Paribus that are using synthetics, right? We can bring foreign exchange and stock market data to the chain for them to use for their trading purposes of those real world assets. Another thing we can do is our verifiable randomness. This is something that Chainlink already has, the other large Oracle project in crypto, and that'll be used very heavily for NFT creation, right? So when people are doing these random generated assets for their NFTs, they want to make sure that that's verifiable, and we can run those systems as an Oracle. Another thing for gaming processes, so Network and Cornucopias are two Cardano-based metaverse games that are coming up. They'll be using us to display different types of crypto prices online or on like billboards in their gaming systems. Will also be integrated into their gamification things, so real world or real in-game mining kind of games that then get processed based on payouts get processed based on the current values of different cryptos and how much you've gained. So that'll all come from our Oracle systems. So even wallet updates can be coming from current Oracle system values, where we're taking all of this data from different exchanges, right? That might be points, like decimals off of each other, small amounts, but it makes it so there's a truth value instead of having an arbitrage trading between the two different values. So that's why we have the aggregation model for oracles, and why it's important for projects to use them. So then you're getting the actual considered truth data instead of using bad data from a different source, right? Because a lot of places have different liquidity volumes that end up pumping out different prices. Ourselves even right now have different prices on our different exchanges, and it's really hard to tell what's real and what's truthful and what's not. So that's why oracles are quite important for supporting an ecosystem space and trading volume in general.
Where do you see Charli3 in like 5 years from now?
I mean, I think the community wants the answer to be on the moon, but we'll go a little bit past that. So what we would like to see from Charli3 is an expansion off of Cardano, right? After we set up Cardano, our systems on Cardano properly, and help them work on hopefully other processes like Hydra and dealing with the Cardano the Cardano DeFi Alliance that we've had, and set that all up and have a very solid framework within the ecosystem. We want to branch out to other side parachains on Ethereum and whatever else might come up. So we hope to increase and scale to be a larger trusted solution for a larger area of crypto, instead of just being stuck in the niche of Cardano within the next 5 years. Always looking up to Chainlink to see what we could accomplish within that time frame.
So you talked about like not only impacting the Cardano community, but other communities like inside the crypto space and everything. But like, how would you initially like hope to impact the community of Cardano and kind of, have that like, impact?
No, I think that's a very good question. I think any project that's starting to build on Cardano, especially right now, needs to have a good answer to that question. So initially, I mean, just from the very base, impacting the community is, I think it's really important to build on Haskell code, right? That is the native to the chain. You're not waiting for anything else past what Cardano can bring to begin with. You have proper function. It's more trusted solution that way, and it's faster and scalable within the code. So I think that's the best way to support the community to begin with. Past that is coming up with new initiatives to make it so the ecosystem can go live in a more functional state than it currently is. So again, joining in and helping out with the Cardano DeFi alliances that we just put together is with Indigo and other members like Sunday Swap, Optum Finance, Jiro Wallet, and a few others, to come up with standards for others building and DApp communities building, as well as a bridge to have a collective voice from the community and like all of our different communities from the projects, and say what we like, what we want, what are we looking for Cardano to function. And now we just, 4 days ago now, we had our meeting with top IOG officials and Charles Hoskinson directly about how we can incorporate and collaborate together from the top, so we can give them this feedback, and we can work on these solutions to increase the chain, as well as increase community outreach and support further than it currently is, because now we're working together instead of just getting little tidbits of information from all over the place. The other way that we aim to support is through a initiative that I mentioned earlier, is Drop for Drop campaign. It's a clean water initiative working with a charity, a nonprofit, Drop for Drop, through a stake pool operator, Grow Your Stake, where many projects are staking enough, giving up all of the rewards from staking to go to Drop for Drop to build wells, and as well as each new member puts up enough to fund their own fully functional well that's being built somewhere. Right now, I think Drop for Drop is operating in Tanzania and Pakistan, but yeah, so wherever clean water solutions are needed. And I think that follows the ethos of Cardano and their humanitarian efforts and philanthropy as well.
Yeah, that's great. Like, I think the other communities of crypto, like Ethereum, Bitcoin, they could learn a lot from Cardano's ethos, and like by impacting the Cardano community, I think it's also going to impact and influence other communities. So it's great. And it's really cool that you had this meeting with Charles Hopkinson. That's really exciting.
Yeah, we were pretty excited about it. So I've created a blog post today that he asked us to do from the Alliance, and that'll be going out a little later today about what we plan on doing together, and we'll have more continual updates. So check out for that through the Alliance's
You
side.
will, definitely.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Speaking of like the community growth aspect, and you talked about like the code a little bit, is Charli3 going to be open source?
Great question, because we currently are not, and a lot of people ask us for that. Yes, we do plan to be open source, and we planned to be open source back in July from the initial kind of mid stages of what we were building. The reason we haven't been so far is there isn't a lot of competition in oracles in Cardano, and because of that, the few that are very hungry for the tech. So we're trying to protect our initial IP at the moment by keeping it secret. But certain key members do have access to it that we have NDAs with, such as the IOHK, and which is how we were able to get our audit done by CertiK. So the best way to see what we've been functioning on and kind of what we've been building is to go to our website, charli3.io, and right at the bottom of the first header is our full audit report by CertiK and IOHK. So you can check that out. But we do plan to be open source as soon as we get established and have the first few onboarded projects to our oracles, and then we'll release everything, because then it's, I think it's good faith in the community and just helping each other build, because no one ever got to where we are now without innovating off somebody else's designs prior to this point.
Yeah, it's all about building up and, helping each other in the community. So before we finish off, is there anything else you want the community to know?
I would love to talk about one or two things. We've already covered the DeFi Alliance, which is fantastic. So please go check us out for more options there. It is the top building projects in the ecosystem. We plan to add others that they're developing at a high level. Right now, we managed to get away from our pesky Ethereum token gas fees on ADAX's centralized exchange that is built purely just for Cardano projects, as we're struggling to get live because of the ecosystem delays. But past that, we are minting our Cardano native token this week, probably today, and that will hopefully be ready to be exchanged by next week on ADAX's exchange. So you can pull your Ethereum tokens over to Cardano native. But even at the point right now, it is basically no gas fees on ADAX's exchange. So you can go do that. And we have an NFT project coming up right after that as well. So ideally, mostly just watch out for our developer updates that are coming, our CNT launch, and our involvement with the DeFi Alliance. You'll get the best updates on what we're working on code base wise from our Medium articles and the DeFi Alliance articles as well.
Exciting.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Damon.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. It's always great to get in touch with any kind of community base in Cardano as well.
Thank you.